A Cuban fighter pilot is about to land a civilian plane on a highway in broad daylight to extract his family from a communist dictatorship. He has 90 seconds before Cuban military arrives. His wife and two sons are standing by the road wearing bright orange shirts so he can spot them from the air. If this goes wrong, they all die. This is December 19, 1992, a two-lane highway 50 miles east of Havana. And the man flying that Cessna 310 barely knows how to operate it. He's a MiG pilot, fighter jets, not civilian aircraft. 21 months ago, he stole a Soviet fighter from Cuba and flew it to America. He promised his wife he'd come back for her. And now he's keeping that promise in the most insane way possible. His name is Orestes Lorenzo Perez, major in the Cuban Air Force, decorated combat pilot, true believer in the revolution, until he wasn't. This is the story of a man who risked everything twice, once to escape, once to go back. And the question isn't whether he's brave. The question is whether anyone can pull off what he's about to attempt and survive. To understand why Orestes is flying a plane toward Cuba right now, you need to understand what changed him. 1986. Orestes gets sent to the Soviet Union, Marshal Grechko-Zhukov Air Force Academy, advanced military training. He's being groomed for higher command. He's a rising star. Trained to fly MiG-21s. Deployed to Angola during the Civil War. Fought for the communist side. Got decorated for valor. He believes in the system. His wife Victoria and their two sons, Rainiel and Alejandro, are with him in Russia. But something's different here. Mikhail Gorbachev is in power. Glasnost. Perestroika. Openness. Reform. For the first time in Orestes' life, he sees a communist system questioning itself, admitting failures, allowing criticism, and he realizes Cuba isn't doing this. Castro isn't reforming. Castro is clinging to the old ways, tightening control, suppressing dissent. Orestes returns to Cuba in 1989, and everything he sees now looks different. Then, in June 1989, something happens that changes everything. General Arnaldo Ochoa Sanchez gets arrested. A hero of the revolution, fought in Angola, had close ties to the Soviet Union, believed in Gorbachev's reforms. Political show trial. Executed by firing squad on July 13, 1989. The message is clear. Anyone sympathetic to Soviet reforms will be eliminated. Orestes watches this and understands. Cuba isn't changing. And if he stays, his sons will grow up in the same system. The same lies, the same propaganda, the same prison disguised as paradise. He makes his decision. He will defect. But not alone. He needs to bring Victoria and the boys. They apply for exit visas. Denied. The regime doesn't let families leave together. Too risky. Too likely they'll never return. So Orestes changes his plan. He'll go first, alone, in a way the Cuban government can't stop. And then he'll find a way to get his family out. Whatever it takes. March 20th, 1991. Santa Clara Air Base, 165 miles east of Havana. Orestes sits in the cockpit of a MiG-23BN Flogger. This is his first solo flight in a variable geometry swing-wing fighter. He's trembling. Not from nerves about flying a new aircraft. From fear that someone has discovered his plan. He waits for other MiGs to land. Tower gives him clearance. He kicks in the afterburner. The sleek Soviet fighter races down the runway. Lifts off. Climbs normally. Then drops low over the sea and sprints toward Florida. This isn't a training flight. This is a defection. And back home, Victoria sits in their apartment with their two sons. She's pretending she knows nothing. Pretending this is just another training mission. But Orestes made her a promise before he left. A promise that will haunt him for the next 21 months. I'm coming back for you. 11 a.m. MiG-23, number 722, screams north at low altitude. Orestes flies wave-hopping, as low as 12 feet above the water, so low that American radar doesn't pick him up. The Cuban Air Force searches for him for more than 2 hours. They don't know where he went. Finally, someone from Boca Chica Naval Air Station calls Santa Clara and taunts. "Hey, are you guys missing a MiG?" Because Orestes is already in Florida. He circles Naval Air Station Key West, extends flaps, wings, air brakes, landing gear, waggles the wings to signal non-hostile intent, praying no one shoots him down. He lands around 11:20 a.m., deploys the drogue parachute, taxis to a stop, and sits there, engine idling, waiting, wondering, is this the right base? Is this America? For years, he's been told Americans are barbarians, corrupt, violent. Will they arrest him? Torture him? Send him back? Finally, a vehicle with a rotating yellow beacon approaches. Orestes taxis behind it to a ramp, cuts the engine. A red car stops next to him. 2 U.S. Navy men step out. Orestes exits the cockpit, stands at attention, and in Spanish with very limited English says, "I am seeking political asylum." The American pilot understands, extends his hand, shakes Orestes' hand. "Welcome to the United States." Orestes is immediately flown to Washington, D.C. Briefings, processing, paperwork, political asylum granted. The MiG-23 gets secured by U.S. Navy custody, examined, photographed. Then on March 29, 1991, returned to Cuban representatives as a diplomatic resolution. Orestes settles in an Alexandria, Virginia apartment. Freedom is intoxicating. After living under stifling socialist control his entire life, he can speak freely, move freely, think freely. But his thoughts are constantly with Victoria, with Rainiel, with Alejandro. Back in Cuba, the regime makes Victoria an offer. A new home, a car, luxuries most Cubans will never have. They even install a telephone in her home, another luxury. Orestes later explains it made spying on them easier. All the government demands in exchange is simple. Denounce Orestes as a traitor, publicly, on television, in front of the entire nation. Victoria refuses completely. She will not condemn her husband. The regime applies pressure. Victoria is summoned by Raul Castro himself, Fidel's brother, head of the Cuban armed forces. He tells her she will never leave Cuba, that she will forget her husband, that Orestes is a traitor planning to marry another woman in America. All lies, but Victoria doesn't break. In Virginia, Orestes begins his campaign. He founds an organization called Parents for Freedom. He fights for what he calls Castro's hostages. He writes letters, dozens, hundreds. Coretta Scott King writes to Fidel Castro. President George H.W. Bush directs a speech to the Cuban government asking Castro to let Orestes' family go. Mikhail Gorbachev writes. More than 50 senators and congressmen write. The Valladares Foundation, a Cuban exile human rights organization founded by Armando Valladares, a former political prisoner, joins the campaign. Victoria and the boys receive U.S. visas in June 1991, official permission to travel to the United States. But the Cuban government bars their departure. The visas are worthless. Castro won't let them leave. During the Summer Olympic Games in Barcelona, Orestes goes on a well-publicized hunger strike, trying to pressure Castro, trying to shame the regime. Nothing works. 21 months pass. 21 months of letters, speeches, protests, hunger strikes, diplomatic pressure, and Castro doesn't budge. Then Raul Castro sends a message, a challenge, broadcast over Cuban airwaves. If Lorenzo had the balls to leave with one of my MiGs, maybe he has the balls to come and get his family. Orestes hears this and realizes something. Diplomacy has failed. Letters have failed. The only way to get his family out is to do it himself. to go back to Cuba and extract them. But how? He can't steal another Meg. He's in America now. He'd need to fly from Florida to Cuba, land, pick up his family, and fly back. All without being detected. All without being shot down. It's impossible. It's insane. It's suicide. But Orestes doesn't have another option. Through the Valadares Foundation, he learns of a 1961 Cessna 310 for sale.